the Prince Albert Challenge Cup. We've got the Riverfront Recapture from USA against Newcastle University. Off they go. This is the first of the Prince Albert Challenge Cup heats that we've seen in this Royal Regatta 2025.
Looks like a great start there from the Riverfront crew, just on the far side of the screen there, just potentially just taking a sort of nose on the Newcastle crew, which is a very slick boat, this Newcastle Cox 4 that we can see in the near side of the screen in the blue and red.
I love the position of the Cox as well there. What a great shot that is. You really get an idea of how low to the water they are.
Yeah, it's a great position coxing in a bow loader like that. It's a bit like an F1 car, isn't it? You're sort of nicely tucked in there. You've got all your gizmos and gadgets and controls and...
But communicating with the rest of the boat must be quite interesting, because often the Cox can get eye contact and see a bit more of what their boat's up to, whereas here they can see the path ahead, but they can't necessarily communicate as easily with their athletes.
Doing a lot more through feel, aren't you, and feedback from the athletes. And I think Newcastle must have done that well, because they have just been able to sort of overturn what looked like an early sort of nose out there by Riverfront.
So Riverfront Recapture, USA, over in Connecticut. Early morning, if you're up, well done. 4:20 a.m.
That's commitment, that, isn't it? But that's
great effort.
That's a training session for rowers, isn't it? They get up early, so...
I was up that early this morning here in Henley, and you wouldn't believe how congested the water was an hour later.
There we go, Riverfront really being asked to really kind of dig deep here to stay in contact.
There we are, you can see, we were talking about the Cox earlier. And that's a terrific view of Edward Peacock at work, 22-year-old Cox for Newcastle University in the royal blue and white. Here come Riverfront Recapture.
There we go, on the near side of the screen there, looking like they're borrowing a boat from Newark Rowing Club, so that's very kind. We always look at those sort of things, at how clubs who have travelled a long way are able to borrow equipment from clubs in the UK, and that's great that another club's been able to help this travelling crew.
It's a big day for boat transport today down the water in Caversham. The GB boats are all being loaded into a container today to head out to the Shanghai for the World Championships in China, but they leave Caversham today and they're on the seas out to China for mid-September. There's some logistics for you.
Oh my God, it's amazing, isn't it? Very exciting stuff. I hope they don't get caught in the Henley traffic today.
Or in the Suez Canal.
Oh, yeah, gosh, yeah. Yeah, really solid rowing here from Newcastle. I think they were just really on this quite early on, weren't they? And just took control, and they're able to now, you know, the crew's got a good view of their opponents and just being able to keep a lid on things here. Looks like they're still keeping it pretty racy and lively, aren't they? But they're not. I wouldn't have thought they're completely flat out. But it always feels tough, no matter what position you're in.
Very early in this race, Adam, you said Newcastle University were a slick setup, you know, good outfit here, and they're showing their worth, aren't they? They're showing their abilities. William Johnson in the bow seat, you can see his back there. Lucas Bowles, Edward Ridley, Benjamin Brockway, and we mentioned the Cox earlier in the race, Edward Peacock, who you can see in the sunglasses and the baseball hat.
Coached by Angelo Savarino, who has got form. He's coached at Newcastle for a long time. He's got a really established way of doing things there, and they have form in this event. You know, they've won this event before, so this is great to see them with a solid crew, and this is their top boat racing well here in the Prince Albert.
Yeah, solid performance. Well, you're expecting great things from them.
Oh, you get from this overhead shot, you can see both crews are rowing the same sort of bucket rig, which is slightly unconventional. You've got the stroke person on the bow side and then the two in the middle along the stroke side, but...
Well, it definitely is working well for Newcastle, and good effort from the Americans here.
Really good comeback, isn't it?
They're making a race. In fact, they are flying to get a bit of overlap, and this is pushing Newcastle right to the end. They're actually moving back Riverfront Recapture.
They're really shifting through the gears, aren't they? There we go.
Possibly left it a fraction too late. Who knows what they had left. But over the line come Newcastle University after a bit of a late scare. It's only 3/4 of a length in the end. The margin of victory over Riverfront Recapture USA from over in Connecticut. And there you have the result. Student Open coxed 4s in the Prince Albert.